said it. It's so pretty. And then you wrote on it?
Thank you.
I'm alive.
Right. In my riot bag. And I hope it's the border too, because then you can like write it. I want to make one. Have you guys decided what to do? Sorry about that. Going soon.
Huh? Yeah, I'm. Yeah.
I can talk to this mic.
Huh?
I can talk to this mic.
Right now, not right now, sir. Come on up. I just want to thank everybody for answering the call. I'm going to apologize in advance if I get emotional. Today more than ever, we've seen the worst of those who are put on a badge that are supposed to protect and serve our communities. I am just disgusted that Denver police not only illegally removed unhoused neighbors, but also thought it was okay to put their hands on several protesters, from myself to even to somebody who had a daughter who was 13 years old. And so I'm going to ask Anna to just open us up, and then we'll go in. I'll say a few words, and then we'll give you guys in the media a couple of opportunities to ask questions, and then wrap this up. Cool? Cool.
Thank you for the time and the space to speak. I might also get emotional, so I apologize ahead of time. My daughter was the one who wanted to go today. We've been going to the Elijah McClain protests, and we were present when the protester drove, or when the Jeep drove through the protesters and the shots were fired. And today, when we heard that this was happening, we answered the call. We were standing up for a couple of clergy women who were trying to go inside the fenced area to provide assistance to a family with children. They knew that they would have nowhere to go to, and the place that they were told to go to was full, and they were refusing them entry. And even though we were outside of the fence, when the fence was open, we were a good 6 to 10 feet away from the officers. They still found us threatening enough, myself, my 13-year-old, my 15-year-old, and two women clergymen, threatening enough to call Denver Police Department to remove us by force. I'm really grateful to Tay, because he was hurt trying to protect my daughter, who is a Denver public school student. As a parent, I'm supposed to be able to tell my kids that they can go to the police when they need help, but the police sexually assaulted my daughter. So who do we go to when we cannot go to the police? Because I know that brown and black mothers have been at the front line of this issue for generations. When will it end? Thank you.
Say your name for us, please.
My name is Anna Cornelius.
Spell your last name, please.
Cornelius.
Your daughter.
I was with my daughter, and I have worked in housing in Denver. And I have been an activist in Denver the entire time I've lived in Denver. I went to my first protest when I was 5 years old. This is not something I do on my off time. I am very connected to my community. And we were there, we were ready to assist our community members to remove their things, to help them, so that they don't get their items disposed of. Many of these people were at work, and their tents were empty, and they're going to come home from work, and where's their stuff? So you want to complain that they don't do anything, but then you're going to take their home while they're at work? They're also taxpayers. Who do the police work for? We are the people. Woo!
I want to thank Anna for being here. The reason why I came down is I seen Dr. Lisa Calderon's live feed and was disgusted with what I seen, with what was going on with our unhoused neighbors. And I live minutes away from the Capitol, and decided to come down, and then seen that they were given a 10-minute tear-down order is what they called it, which is disgusting. They gave 10 minutes for certain individuals to get their stuff out, and then here's the catch. They would not let you go in and out of the camp. And so I had an issue with that. So I picked up the phone and I texted the governor, and I said, hey, this is not okay. You can't expect people to get in and out in 10 minutes in one trip when all of their livelihood is in that camp. And so we were able to negotiate people to be able to go in and out, those who lived in the camp being able to go in and out. And then they continued to still move in on to the camp. And I said, hey, what is this? What is going on here? You just told me that you'd give them more time. I have the text from the governor of Colorado that says we will give them more time. But it seems like his own troopers ignored that ask. And I was disgusted when I seen state troopers attempt to close one gate to close the public out. And so we stood in front of the other one until people were able to get their belongings, and they waited for Denver police to come back, and Denver police was the aggressor. So I want Denver, the city and county of Denver, to understand you gave me a traumatic head injury by shoving my head into the ground and then denying it and saying that I fell. You do not know how hurt it was to turn on the news to thinking that people that look like me, we say in the black community, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, but to see a black man, Murphy Robinson, defend the actions of Denver police and say he just fell. And then 30 minutes later, release Kalo image where you can see an officer's hand take the side of my face and slam it towards the ground. We shouldn't have to gather like this anymore, y'all. I am tired of the only time our community gets together is when black people are being brutalized by the police department. That is, enough is enough. So let me just be clear. City of Denver, you fucked with the wrong person, because now we're not just going to try to get justice for what you did to me. I want to make sure we get justice for everybody you've wrongfully murdered, like Paul Castaway, like Paul Childs. Like in Aurora, we have to get justice for Elijah McClain, Michael Marshall, Jessica Hernandez, and the list continues to go on. It shouldn't take somebody with a title in order to get media attention that police brutality is real. So now let me shift the media's attention to the reason why we were there. Yes, somebody that was an elected official got hurt. That's not the story you should be running. You should be running that unhoused neighbors were unlawfully removed from their home. So I know people say don't read the comments, but I did. And to see some of the just disgusting images of individuals taking screenshots of me in pain and using that as a meme, or saying that this is what he deserved. We've been waiting for this. That that not just hurts myself, that hurts my mom. And the other women in my life that call themselves my mother, when they have to watch videos of somebody that they call their son getting antagonized and mocked by you, and then also watching their son being thrown to the ground for the city of Denver that's ran by a black mayor, that the director of public safety is a black man, for their first words weren't even, we're sorry. It was, he fell. I'll start wrapping up with this, is that I just want to say thank you to community. You answered the call, so now I need you to take this action where you came to a press conference into the streets of Greenwood Village for Senate Bill 217, into the streets of Aurora for Elijah McClain, for Michael Marshall, for Paul Castaway, for Paul Childs, for all of those who have been brutalized by the police department in Denver and Aurora and beyond. It's time to I know I was the one who promoted the peaceful actions. I'm done trying to save people's asses now. I'm done with trying to save the precious windows and the precious brick. Because
there are windows anyway. There are windows.
Because while I have this opportunity, I want to just say I'm disgusted that even on the Saturday where PSL led a peaceful protest, somebody decided to try to kill over 1,000 protesters. And then they weren't arrested. And then the media focused on broken glass. The mayor called us domestic terrorists. We have to be able to start looking at this not just in one situation, but saying enough is enough, and we've had these situations happen time and time again. So as I for real close this time, I just again want to say thank you. But we are going to get justice. Especially, I do not, it did not sit well with me. And I wanted to just kind of bust into tears when I heard that the city of Denver's first words were, he fell. And then you release a halo camera that shows literally 30 minutes later, and then you zoom in on it that says, he didn't fall. You shoved him to the ground. So I want all elected officials to start standing up and showing up for all of our marginalized communities. It shouldn't just be one of us out there all the time. If you're elected to serve the people, you go out there to serve the people. I'll take questions from the press now. Yeah, I wasn't bleeding. I didn't suffer any external injuries. I got hit in the back of the head. That's where I fell. There were Denver street medics, amazing first responders, helped me out while the police stood over me and just continued to move their foot onto my body and try to push me out of the way. But so grateful for the medics, the street medics that we have in Denver that show what it means to be a true first responder and not somebody who is going to just stand over there. And so Denver Health, I want to give them a thank you as well. Immediately when I walked into the hospital, they immediately assisted me and made sure that I had all of the treatment that I needed. And so just want to thank them for that as well. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. If you are going to call somebody like Anna or clergy members or random community members and a 13-year-old and other children that were present, agitators and unlawful, then I'm disappointed in you because we weren't causing any damage. We were just saying, give us 2 hours. Keep these gates open for 2 hours so those who are at work can come and get their stuff so that they're not coming home to a place where they called home that was no longer their home and where all of the stuff they've worked for was taken away. And we begged for 2 hours. and they would not give us those 2 hours. And I'm just disappointed that they could not just say, hey, keep these gates open so that people can be able to get their belongings. We didn't do anything to agitate. We didn't put any hands on them. We didn't do anything wrong. But they were the aggressors, as usually they are, and came and pushed us. This is why I support defunding the police department for this exact reason. Any other questions?
What's your direct message to Governor Polis and Mayor Hancock?
Tell him, Tay.
Unapologetic. Talk to him.
I'm disgusted in the governor's action to remove unhoused neighbors who weren't causing any trouble. If you wanted to help unhoused neighbors, why don't you just send a crew in to help them get their trash out of the area instead of removing them and then giving them a temporary fix of saying, hey, we're going to give you a temporary fix of a place they did not want to go. They were fine. And we have to be able to talk to our elected officials and say that was not okay. And the fact that I was in direct communication with the governor of Colorado moments before this happened, and his own troopers would refuse to stand down, I think there's insubordination somewhere in that. And I want to know if the state troopers defied orders from the governor, because the governor told me we got them more time. But when the moment that text was sent, the troopers started to move in. That was not time. And for Mayor Hancock, this is enough. I think it's time that you step down from office.
You never sent it. Never seen it. You know it.
I know you're taking issue with the fact that say you felt. Do you think it could have been accidental? Do you think that you were?
Hold on.
He knows it.
No.
Knows it.
I appreciate the question because I appreciate the question. Hold on. I appreciate the question for the reason that 3 officers laid their hands on me, so it wasn't accidental. As you can see in multiple angles of the video, as I got pushed once by one officer when trying to stand in front of her child. Then I got turned around by another officer, and then the third officer was the one who gave the final blow. It wasn't accidental. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they should be held accountable. And this is no longer a slap on the wrist anymore. I want us to be able to make sure that we pursue this to the fullest extent of the law.
For him and for his daughter, too.
Yep.
Yeah, he knows why.
Hey.
He knows.
Hey.
Because he was sent here for him.
KG and you?
Yep.
Given the several months of work and effort and love you put into trying to organize and trying to arrange, can you describe where you are right now with that work and where we are at this point?
Yeah, I'm tired, but I'm not going to give up.
Right.
I'm hurt. I'm physically, emotionally, I'm drained. But I took an unpaid job on the school board to serve Denver's kids because I love what I do. And every single day, every single day I wake up with the same resolve in order to serve my community. Whether they're a student in Denver Public Schools or our unhoused neighbors or women's rights organizations, I've stood up for the last 4 years that I've been able to, with activism, to continue to stand up for different groups of individuals. And just because people want to do egregious acts, it does not stop this fight. It energizes it even more to get back out there with community to say, no, I know what it feels like, and we will never let this happen again. Elijah McClain should be with his mother today. Michael Marshall should be with his family today. Paul Childs should be with his family today. Paul Castaway should be with his mother today. 2 more questions. Jerry? Yep.
like last class cut.
Yep.
You know, it's time for us to take some of these and call them out. Because if they want tourists to come back in, if we decide to open this up back up, then we need people to be in apartments. We need people to be in homes. Don't know what's coming down next, but I'm here to let you know what's coming down next. You all won't be fighting the pandemic. You're going to be fighting hunger. Yeah. And as you can see right now, what you're already fighting is a lot of people that are fed up with this type of government.
Yep.
That now, what you got to do, man, come together and demand that the very people that own that shit, because it ain't for 2%. But you got to understand the other 98 that we got, we are in control. We are in control. If this pandemic haven't touched anything, it should tell you. You have all the money in the world. If you do you no good, we can't spend it.
Yep.
All right. No, that's
Thank
right.
you.
It's time for us to quit asking for safe tent or camp. Even though that's good because they look cheap. And they can always give the black and the poor the cheapest shit they can find. And right now, we need to be talking about putting people in these apartments.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Lisa?
So Tay, so I'm Lisa Calderon, Chief of Staff for Councilwoman Candy Vaca. We are in a position. We love you, Candy. How are we going to use this moment to bring attention to the fight that we've been having around housing folks in this highly gentrified neighborhood and this highly gentrified city with the second highest displacement rate in the nation. This is what this fight is about. So we're glad you're using your platform and Candy's platform, but we also need to make sure that the voices of the unhoused don't get lost in this. Because ultimately we were fighting for their dignity and their right to not be forced into a removal program into shelters that are petri dishes for COVID-19. So we need to unite our movements so that we're assisting everyone because it's the same fight, it's the same administration. And right now it's also the state of Colorado and the governor.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's right.
And again, I want to reiterate the reason why we call this today is to, one, correct the record. I didn't fall. And two, to make sure that we turn back the attention to the reason why we were gathering in the first place, so that we can make sure that, yes, we're getting justice for those who have been murdered at the hands of police brutality, but also making sure we get justice for those who are unhoused in our city, because this city has places to house people. This administration just continues to fail housing our unhoused neighbors. And so we need to turn the attention back to them. No more pictures of Tay Anderson on the news. Turn it back to the reason why we were there in the first place. So that's my ask to the media, is turn this back over to the reason why they were there. And I'm going to implore you to go down there to see the aftermath of what state troopers did and see what the Denver police did, because it has to be, we have to be able to center that message of saying, yes, one person got hurt in this altercation. However, the message has to be about getting housing for those who have been unhoused and supporting those like Councilwoman Candy Vaca, who is working for our communities, and she's right over there. Thank you, Councilwoman. Yeah.
I normally wouldn't put out call-outs for things that I don't know if they're going to happen or not, because normally we like to trust that our government's actually going to tell us what's going to happen. But since that's not what happened today, I feel the need to give people a heads up of what I was just told by some residents of the encampment over at 22nd.
Come on up. Come on up. Come on up.
Tell them, please. Tell them. I'm one of them.
So, over at 22nd and Stout, there's another encampment of about 200 people. I was told today, we were told at our meeting today by one of the residents of that camp that security guards and outreach workers were talking to him and other residents telling them that they had to leave, and then telling them, but it didn't really matter because they were going to be swept out tomorrow anyway.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't know if this is true. And I hate to put out this, the scare call of, oh, there's going to be a sweep tomorrow when we really don't know. But that's exactly what happened today. Today, I was reaching out last night trying to find out, is there going to be a sweep tomorrow? We heard rumors. Is this true or not? Not a single city department, including the mayor's office, which I was in direct communication with, gave me any information whatsoever to say whether it was happening or not. In fact, rather blank silence in order to lie. So with that in mind, if people can show up tomorrow morning, just in case, I know it might not happen, but we hear it might, and if we can show up in solidarity with all the folks, about 200 that are living at 22nd and Stout, in case the police show up to say that no, they cannot be moved, no, they cannot be scattered around our city, well, there's vacant apartments right there. Just like, so this, we won at that encampment about a month ago. There was a whole bunch of community members, some of which are here today, folks from PSL, folks from Black Lives Matter, other groups that all showed up and that stopped the sweep at 22nd and Stout about a month ago. That was a fucking huge deal, first time ever. But if they're going to just keep doing this again, where they come in with no notice secretly, that's their goal, and we don't want to stand for it. So if anybody can, please come to 22nd and Stout tomorrow morning about 7:30 or 7 a.m. We don't know what time they'll come or if they'll come, but come with your hearts in solidarity if you can. Thank you.
So I just want to, I think that's a good note to end it on and say thank you guys for being here. I will be fine. I'm alive. And I want to just again thank Denver Health. I'll be in pain for the next couple of days, but that's good. That's not good, but I'm alive. And so that's what matters. Is that we are consistently demanding justice for those who have been consistently marginalized. I just want to thank everybody for being here and standing in solidarity, and we're not going to allow this to happen again.
Right.
And if anybody has, we'll be, all legal questions, we'll be doing that at a different time. But this was a time for us to come together and to decry the actions of the Denver police and the city and county of Denver for their remarks of saying, he fell when clearly I didn't fall. You shoved me and you put your hands on me, and that will never happen again to anybody else. Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna encourage you. Yeah. I'm gonna encourage you.